What's up guys, Jfresh Beatz back with another video, and today we're talking about my top 6 plugins for 2020. Okay, so I'm back in the old office space just for today. You notice how most of everything is gone. This is a very minuscule type area right now, but we opened on Saturday. We did the finishing touches to the painting. I think we get the foam today, so we're going to be putting up foam in the vocal booth, stuff like that. Just doing the last finishing touches before we open. So I didn't want to mess up the aura of decoration by stopping to do a video, so I decided to stay home to do the video and also to touch this up. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into here. So these aren't going to be any particular order, but I'm just going to give a brief synopsis of each plugin and why I specifically use it. So we're going to start with plugin number 1, that plugin being Machine 2. Now you ask me, why would I choose a DAW as one of my top plugins? It's not just the DAW, it's really the plugin and why I use it outside of the DAW by itself. So jumping into Machine 2, you notice that it looked just like the DAW, but here's the reason why I use this outside of its regular standalone, like whether I'm in Logic or Studio 1.4, this is why I use it. So I'm gonna go to Splice, I'm gonna find a loop. So we'll do this loop, and I'm gonna drag it in. Now, here's the reason why I use it, and if you guys wanna use it this way, that's perfectly fine. Like I said, there's no right or wrong or particular order of why I do this, but it's the audio feature. Notice how this was at 125 and we're in 120. So the audio feature automatically maps out what the tempo is and stretches it or de-stretches it to where it needs to be in your platform, so you can put any loop to whatever tempo that you want to create. It's a great tool for creation, and then you can export it and drag and drop it right into the DAW of your choice. Moving on to number 2. Number 2 is Contact. Now, I know you've probably seen plenty of other videos where they say contact, 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 but really Contact is it's one of the most plugins that I use in all of my creation. It has great sounds, great everything. You can put up to 15 to 16 sounds inside of the sampler, and it doesn't take up that much CPU. It's just realistic sounds. It's just a really nice sampler that you can even create sounds if you want to. If you're into sound design, this is pretty awesome. And if you really just want to make your drum kits and this, that, and the third, you can do that in Contact as well. You can map it out to where you want it to be, if that's what you want to do. Now, I already said something about drum kits, so we're gonna move on to Battery 4, which is number 3 on the list. Battery 4 is your go-to for drums, if you will. Like, you can even put regular samples in there, but I really like the way that Battery 4 works with not only just regular drum samples, but you can also take files from expansion packs and put the loops in there, and it'll find the loops. You can put your endpoints, your start points, as if you were sampling. It even has a setup feature where you can either humanize it, articulate it to where you have different rolling functions, and it basically allows you to do hi-hat rolls and stuff like that without really having to look at the science of it. So it's really kind of easy. All right, moving on to number 4, we're going to go to Sublab. Sublab by FAW, Future Audio Workstation. Now, the reason I like Sublab, and I used to be a producer's choice 808 Warfare guru, I would use that all the time. But the reason I like Sublab is not only for its realistic and its punch in the sub, but this feature right here, the mixer. Now it allows you to take the sub volume and use the X sub, which is basically like the deep sub of the main bass. So it allows harmonics, but then it also has a synth feature, so you can create synths on top of the regular sampler that it already has. Now you can also put your own samples in there, which is also pretty cool as well. So it allows for distortion, limiting, and basic compression. So it's basically a huge plugin that you definitely need in your arsenal. Moving along to number 5. Now, those of you who have been watching from day number 1, you noticed that most of the plugins that I had or I was creating with was Studio Linked VST plugins. Now, I don't have as many as I used to have, but I still keep some in there in my arsenal because I do like the simplicity and some of the sounds that they have in there. Now, one in particular that I use a lot is the TrackMoon kit. Now, it used to be the TrackMoon kit number 1, but this is TrackMoon Pro 2. So it's a standalone, and it's also its own version made just for audio units. It's not in Contact anymore, and it has a lot of libraries of stuff that you would use just for trap or hip hop. And I really like their drum kits and some of the stuff that they have in there. So that is pretty cool. All right, last but certainly not least, we're gonna move on to Massive. Now, I know Massive used to be the number 1 thing when it came to dubstep, EDM with Trilix and the wahs and everything like that, but it's still a valuable plugin till this day. Now, Massive has come out with not only its regular version with other expansions, and if you look at my browser, I pretty much have a lot of expansions in here, but Massive also revamped itself and they came out with Massive X. Now, that Massive X, I have an expansion in here, and it's mainly just for trap. I can't remember where I got it from. If I do remember, I'll put that in the description below. If I don't, I'm sorry. I'll try to put that in another video. But Massive X is pretty great when it comes to just wonderful sounds that you wouldn't get in a regular sampler or in a regular synthesizer. Massive and Massive X are just beyond, and Native Instruments did a really good job. Alright, so that's my top 6 for 2020. It's nothing really too huge, but it's something that's very useful and something that you can use in your day-to-day, every day. Now, please hit that like button, also subscribe, and comment in the comment section below. So next video, we're going to be talking about mixing. That's right, mixing. So you don't want to miss that, and particularly EQ. All right, remember, he who controls you controls your music, and life without music is a mistake. All right, peace.